What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Windy City MMA YouTube channel. I am Jordan, and this is the UFC 324 betting breakdown and predictions. We will start at the bottom per usual. Opening UFC 324, the first fight of the UFC Paramount Plus era. Open up the card, Ty Miller versus Adam Fugitt. Ty Miller is 6-0, including one no contest. He's making his UFC debut after a decision win over Jimmy Drago on the Dana White's Contender Series, and he is fighting Adam Fugitt. Fugitt is 10-5. He's 2-3 in the UFC and coming off a first round KO loss to Islam Dulatov. Now, odds have Miller as a heavy favorite here, minus 400, I believe, minus 350. Fugitt coming back at plus 280. I'm gonna follow the odds. First fight, I'm taking Ty Miller to win. I think he's gonna go out there. He's gonna make a big statement in his UFC debut, get a KO victory. So give me Ty Miller by knockout. We will move. This is like a weird thing going on in the UFC website, so we'll just leave that there like that. But we got Ricky Turcios versus Cameron Smotherman. Turcios is 12-5. He is 2-3 in the UFC, coming off a decision loss to Bernardo Sopaj, and he is fighting Cameron Smotherman. Smotherman is 12-6, 1-2 in the UFC, and coming off a decision loss to Ricky Simone. Odds of some other men at like minus 200-ish favorite right now with Turcios coming back at plus 170. Again, right in the favorite. I don't got a lot of dogs here on this card. Smotherman, I thought he was very good coming into the UFC. Beating Hadley the way he did was awesome in his debut on short notice. Big underdog, but he's been on a losing streak since then. I think he gets a bounce back win. He's younger, and I think he will be able to outbox Turcios here. Obviously, Ricky is very tough, but give me Smotherman to start off 2026 on the right note, probably by decision. Next, we will move. We got Josh Hokit versus Denzel Freeman. Now, Josh Hokit is 7-0. He's 1-0 in the UFC, coming off a first round KO win over Max Jimenez, and he is fighting Denzel Freeman. Freeman is 7-1. He is 1-0 in the UFC as well, and coming off a decision victory over Marek Brujo. Odds of Hokit as a minus 200-ish favorite. Freeman coming back at plus 185. Both of these guys won their UFC debuts, looking for a big win against a fellow prospect in their second fight in the UFC. Now, I do think the odds are maybe a little bit wide, but I believe that's because of Hokit and his personality and his interviews going around talking up a storm, going crazy. But I'm still gonna pick him to win this fight. I'm gonna take Hokit to win. I don't know if I'll have a bet on it because I don't like the odds too much. Maybe we'll see. I'm not 100% sure, but Josh Hokit is the pick. Next fight, we got Michael Johnson versus Alexander Hernandez. Michael Johnson is 24-19, 25-19 on there, 16-15 in the UFC on a three-fight winning streak. Most recently, very impressive decision victory over Daniel Zellhuber, where he was a massive underdog in that fight. And he is fighting Alexander Hernandez. The Great Ape is 18-8. He's 10-7 in the UFC, and he is also on a win streak, but he is on a four-fight win streak. Most recently, a KO win over Diego Ferreira, and Hernandez is the favorite at minus 180. Johnson coming back at plus 150. Both these dudes are having a resurgence in their career, taking out prospects. Hernandez took out Hooper before Ferreira, and Johnson coming off the Zellhuber victory. Both veterans in the game, but Alexander Hernandez is a lot younger. The age here, age is not right here, but both these got Alexander Hernandez is a lot younger. I'm gonna take him to win this fight. He seems to be on more of a tear, finishing people more often than not recently, and I think he's gonna win a decision here. So give me Alexander Hernandez by decision. We move to the feature early prelim. Alex Perez versus Charles Johnson. Alex Perez is 25-10. He's 7-6 in the UFC, and he's on a two-fight losing streak. Most recently, a third-round submission loss to Asu Almobayev, and he is going up against Charles Johnson. Energy is 18-7, 7-5 in the UFC, and he is coming off a ground two KO victory over Loner Kavanaugh. Johnson is the minus 200 favorite, with Perez coming back at a plus 170. And I'm taking Charles Johnson here. Another favorite, another pick. He's been a prospect killer recently, taking out Joshua Van, Azat Maxim, Owner Kavanaugh. His only loss since 2023 came to Ramazan Tamarov by decision. And, Perez was looking good against Asu before the loss. But energy seems to want it more. He's more locked in, making a late title run. So give me Charles Johnson to win this fight, probably by decision, maybe submission. Not too sure. But next fight of the night, we move to the prelims. Nikita Krylov versus Modestas Bukauskas. Now, this is an interesting one. I'm not going to lie. Modestas Bukauskas is 30. Sorry, apologize. Nikita yeah, is 19-6. He is 19-6, and he is 7-4 in the UFC. He's on a four-fight win streak. Most recently, a first-round buzzer beater win KO over Paul Craig. Nikita Krylov, on the other hand, is 30-11 and 11-9 in the UFC, coming off back-to-back first-round KO losses. Most recently, to Bogdan Guskov. And we have Modestas being the minus 150-ish favorite, with Krylov coming out back at plus 125, kind of a close in odds. And I'm torn, with the odds as well. I've been burned a lot by Krylov, man, especially recently because he was very good. He had the layoff, and then he's been losing. And I hope I'm picking Krylov to win this fight. I hope the ring rust has worn off for Krylov. I think he's going to take this fight with a different mindset. On top of that, I think Guskov and Reyes hit a lot harder than Modestas. I hope Krylov's chin isn't gone and he can take a couple of shots. So I'm going to go with the underdog here. I'm taking Nikita Krylov to reset, get his back to his ways, get takedowns, and grapple his way to a victory. So give me Nikita Krylov by decision, maybe submission, probably not, but I'm gonna say decision. Next fight up the card, we have Ateba Gautier versus Andrey Pulyaev. Gautier is 9-1. He is 3-1 in the UFC, coming off a first round KO win over Tristan Vines, and he is going up against Andrey Pulyaev. Pulyaev is 10-3. 1-1 in the UFC, coming off a second round KO win over Nick Klein. Gautier is a huge favorite. He was like a minus 900. He's getting bet down kind of to a minus like 650-ish. Interesting line movement though. Pulyaev plus 500 coming back as a dog. Quick one here though. I do think Ateba is going to be too big, too powerful, too technical for Pulyaev, and I think he's going to find another finish. I'll say late first or early second round KO for Ateba Gautier. We will move to our feature prelim. Umar Nurmagomedov versus Deiveson Figueiredo. Umar is 19-1. He is 7-1 in the UFC, coming off a decision win over Mario Bautista, and he is fighting Deiveson Figueiredo, who is 25-5 and 1, 14-5 in the UFC, coming off a split decision win very impressively over Montel Jackson. Biggest favorite on the card. Umar sitting at a heavy minus 1500-ish price. Figgy coming up back at plus 800-ish. Again, I'm going to keep this one quick. I think Umar is going to run through Figgy. I think the age is just going to be a factor. I think he's going to win convincingly. I don't know if it'll be submission or decision, but I believe it will be very clear if it goes to a decision that Umar has won. So give me Umar Nurmagomedov by decision or submission. We will move to the main card. Opening up the main card, we have Arnold Allen versus Jean Silva. Arnold Allen is 20-3, 11-2 in the UFC, coming off a decision win over Giga Chikadze, and he is going up against fighting nerd Jean Silva. Silva is 16-3, 5-1 in the UFC, and he is coming off that KO loss over Diego Lopez. Odds have Jean Silva here as a heavy favorite, around minus 270, and Allen coming back at plus 230. The return of Jean Silva is all I need to say. He was rising high and quick before the loss to Diego Lopez. I think he jumps right back into the win column here. Short and sweet. I think Jean Silva is better everywhere and anywhere this fight will go. I think he wins this fight probably by KO because Arnold Allen has been rocked in the past. He has not been knocked out, but he has been rocked. So give me Jean Silva to get back into the win column in a big way. Let's move to the next fight. Natália Silva versus Thug Rose, Namajunas. There are a lot of heavy favorites on this card, man. There are a real lot of heavy favorites, and I'm not picking them up, not picking against any of them. Natália Silva, 19-5-1, 7-0 in the UFC, coming off a decision win over Alexa Grasso, where she looked unbelievable, and she is fighting Thug Rose Namajunas. Rose is 14-7, 15-7 there, and 12-6 in the UFC, coming off a decision win over Miranda Maverick. And odds have Silva as a huge -400 favorite. Rose coming back as a +340 dog. And again, riding the favorites. I'm taking Natália Silva to win this fight. She's a big favorite. Most likely win the exchanges on the feet. Bring her to a decision victory. I don't see how Rose wins this fight because it will probably go the distance, and I don't think Rose will be holding Silva down for most of the fight, which means it will be on the feet a little bit as well, and I think Silva will win those exchanges like she pieced up Grasso and did look very good doing that. So give me Natália Silva by decision. We will move to the heavyweights. We got Waldo Cortes-Acosta versus Derrick the Black Beast Lewis. Now, this is a good one. You know what? It does mean a lot for the heavyweight division. If Acosta wins this fight, it could mean a title fight or title eliminator next for him. So there's a lot riding on this fight. Same thing with Derrick Lewis. Derrick Lewis just taking out Talison Teixeira. It is a big fight. But Cortes-Acosta is 16-2, 9-2 in the UFC, coming off back-to-back first-round KO wins, most recently over Shamil Gaziev, and he is fighting Derrick Lewis. The Black Beast is 29-12, 20-10 in the UFC, coming off a first-round KO win over Talison Teixeira, where he was a big underdog in that fight, and he is another decent-sized underdog in this one. Cortes-Acosta sitting at -300, Lewis coming back at +250. I would love to see Derrick Lewis win this fight. I think a lot of people would love to see Derrick Lewis win this fight, go on a little title run. But I just don't think it happens. I think Acosta plays this smart, stays away from the power like he did against Robelas to Spain, kind of tires Derrick Lewis out. It does seem like his cardio is getting better, according to him. Um, but I do think he takes Derrick Lewis down. I don't know if we'll be able to hold him down like he did to Spain because Derrick Lewis has his just get up power. So I don't know if he'll be able to hold him down, but I think he tries to stay away from the power and do that, keep it close maybe. But I do think he takes him down a lot. Maybe finds a late finish or a decision win. I'll be rooting for Derrick Lewis, but my pick is Waldo Cortes-Acosta to win this fight. We move to the new co-main event of UFC 324, Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong. Sugar Sean is 18-3, 10-3 in the UFC, coming off back-to-back losses to Merab Dvalishvili, most recently a third round submission loss, and he is going up against Yadong Song. Song is 22-8 and 1. 11-3-1 in the UFC, coming off that technical decision win over Henry Cejudo doing an eye poke, where he was winning the fight and won the fight by technical decision because they had to stop it, and they had already gone the necessary rounds to go to decision. Odds have Sugar at like a -200 favorite, Song coming back at +160. I'm going with Sugar, man. I'm going with Sugar to get back in the win column. He has a good matchup here, in my opinion, in a fight that will most likely stay on the feet in a pure striking matchup. I don't think many people take out Sean O'Malley at 135. That being said, I do think Song can mix it up a little bit, try to get some takedowns, but I do think Sugar can defend it well, winning these exchanges on the feet, kind of like Natália Silva, and most likely pick up a decision win. So give me Sugar Sean O'Malley to win this fight. I do think he rocks Song too. I think he drops him. Just don't know if he finishes him. So Sugar Sean O'Malley by decision is my pick. Next, we have the main event of the evening, the interim lightweight championship of the world. Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje. Main event of the evening. Justin Gaethje is 26-5, 9-5 in the UFC, coming off a decision win over Rafael Fiziev, and he is fighting Paddy Pimblett. Pimblett is 23-3, 7-0 in the UFC, coming off a dominant third round KO victory over Michael Chandler. Paddy sitting at the minus 230 favorite. Gaethje's dog price coming back at plus 200. I like Justin Gaethje a lot. I am taking Paddy Pimblett all day here. Gaethje's an awesome watch. He's always fun, always down to go to war. He called the highlight. But I think Paddy is just so much more skillful when it comes to the grappling aspect. If this was just a stand-up boxing match, you might be taking Gaethje. Um, but I can't trust him, especially if and when this fight probably gets down to the mat at some point. So give me Paddy Pimblett by finish. I would take the sub alone, but I do think Paddy might catch Gaethje. Paddy likes to get into war himself. So I think he might catch him, and it'll just be if he drops him and tries to finish him due to ground and pound, or drops him and then tries to club and sub him. So I'm not 100% sure. But if he finds a submission, he might be looking for it, but he might also not. He might just want to knock out Gaethje. So give me Paddy Pimblett by finish for him to become the new interim lightweight champion of the world. Everyone, that was my quick UFC 324 Gaethje versus Pimblett breakdown. Hope y'all enjoyed. We will be back next week. Lewis will be back next week as well. Thank you very much. Have a good one, guys.